Hello and welcome. My name is Gillian Griffin and I'm a pollution prevention engineer at the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute. Today I'll be talking about the Western New York Sustainable Business Roundtable's recognition program and potential benefits to your business. The Western New York Sustainable Business Roundtable was founded in 2014. Its mission is to bring together Western New York businesses that are committed to setting and achieving sustainability goals while remaining profitable and promoting healthy communities. One of the strategies used by the Roundtable to help businesses reach achievable sustainability targets is its recognition program. This program recognizes the efforts of the Roundtable's members to reduce their environmental footprint through continuous improvement. The program encourages companies to become more sustainable in a few different ways. This includes implementing a sustainability plan, using benchmarking to seek out best practices, identifying opportunities for environmental efficiency, and quantifying the results of improvements once they've been implemented. The program also provides guidance for different ways that businesses can demonstrate a commitment to sustainability, such as how to implement and adhere to a sustainability plan, how to set goals and targets for reducing environmental impact, how to track and monitor quantitative metrics like energy consumption, waste, and greenhouse gas emissions, as well as how to execute project-based initiatives that address specific sustainability challenges like water conservation and employee engagement. In order to promote its own continuous improvement as an organization, the Roundtable worked in partnership with the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute, also known as P2I, to identify best practices among similar recognition programs and to understand how to implement some of the strategies used by the strongest programs. Later in the presentation, I'll describe some of the recommendations that P2I made for Section 2 of the Roundtable's recognition program application. The first step in our process was to conduct a benchmarking study of sustainable business recognition programs across the country. The goal of the benchmarking was to ensure that the Roundtable's recognition program and application are designed to effectively assess and evaluate the environmental efforts and results of applicants. After identifying an initial pool of 28 recognition programs, P2I refined the list to 16. Some of the reasons programs were eliminated include programs with application content and format that didn't vary significantly from the Roundtable's application, programs that focused heavily on compliance and regulatory requirements, industry-specific programs, and programs with limited, unclear, or no use of quantitative metrics. The list was further reduced to 8 programs based on factors like a lack of breadth and substance in the application criteria, programs that lacked specific application information despite having a robust and successful appearance, and programs that were unlikely to view objectively, such as other New York State supported programs. The remaining 8 programs shared 3 primary characteristics. First, they provide substantial information with respect to their applications. This was true both in terms of what information is being requested of applicants and how applicants should convey that information. Second, they have strong histories and appear to be well developed. Third, they use applications that require both quantitative and qualitative data. Today, I'd like to share with you some of what we learned from our research. We hope this will help your business better understand the value of environmental sustainability recognition programs, such as the one offered by the Roundtable, as well as provide you with some insight on what it takes to submit an application. We'll also discuss some of the changes we recommended for the Roundtable's recognition program application. As a result of our benchmarking work, P2I identified 4 focus areas. The first is application clarity and strategy. Clarity refers to the specificity and comprehensiveness of the information provided to applicants. In other words, how clearly do the application instructions convey program requirements, and how well does the application explain how the information being requested should be provided? This is important because applications with a high level of clarity not only improve the consistency of the information submitted across applications, but make it easier to effectively and objectively evaluate submissions. Strategy addresses how well the application content and structure are used to emphasize or promote organizational priorities or areas of interest. Examples of priorities that an organization may want to promote include project impact, how replicable or adaptable the project is, and the role of collaboration in the project. Possible areas of interest might be waste diversion, water pollution, or carbon emissions. The second area of focus is the use of application guidelines. How much instruction is provided beyond the application itself? Are there any additional resources provided? When we talk about application guidelines, we're asking, in addition to the application itself, what information is provided to applicants about program requirements? If guidelines are provided, are they clear? Do they seem likely to assist and guide applicants effectively? Do they provide direction about appropriate methods for quantitative questions? The third focus area is scoring systems. This refers both to how applications are scored and how those scores are determined. Does the application clearly indicate how applications will be scored? Are different sections of the application weighted differently? What distinguishes a good from a very good, or a 9 from a 10? The fourth and final focus area is the review process. This considers the availability of information about who will review and judge the applications, who will make final decisions, and what the review process looks like overall. We found evidence of how to best incorporate each of these 4 areas of focus in many of the 8 programs that we reviewed and evaluated closely. Next, we'll go through each focus area individually. Environmental recognition programs are a tool both for businesses and the awarding organization. The focus area of clarity and strategy demonstrates why this is the case. From the applicant's point of view, an effectively written application will not only clearly describe eligibility requirements, award criteria, and how to respond to each item, it will also educate applicants about the criteria and how they are evaluated and measured. This accomplishes a few different things. First, it helps standardize and increase the consistency of the information provided by applicants. Second, it makes the process more accessible to applicants of varying levels of sustainability competence and experience. This is because it provides a basic roadmap for pulling together the required information. Third, by using application elements like award categories, a clearly written and presented application can provide both direction and inspiration for applicants. From the awarding organization's viewpoint, a well-written application can be used to promote organizational priorities and to emphasize areas of particular concern. This can be accomplished using award categories, application criteria, or metrics, among others. Categories can be designed to promote efforts and projects that focus on certain areas or are particularly relevant to businesses. This might include sustainable supply chain, energy intensity, reduction of hazardous waste, and carbon footprint. Criteria can be used to promote collaboration among businesses or establish a minimum performance threshold. Both categories and criteria can be used to promote adoption of particular practices, such as composting or the use of renewable energy, raise awareness of priority concerns, and highlight work that is representative of the organization's goals. The scoring system can be used to encourage applicants to incorporate the goals and priorities of the recognition program by emphasizing specific project characteristics. For example, one program in our sample uses scoring criteria centered on 4 themes: partnership, impact, innovation, and equity. These elements reflect the program's goal of promoting projects that work collaboratively toward a healthy environment, a prosperous economy, and an equitable society. Although the application for this program requests other key information about the project, such as project summary and project goals, the only scored elements are those 4 themes. Another best practice related to project evaluation is that it needs to be clear how the scoring system will be applied. In general, the application instructions should include definitions of scoring criteria as well as the assigned point values for each criterion to produce more objective and consistent evaluation. More specifically, Criteria can be used to guide the applicant's response so that the aspects of the project that are most important to the awarding organization are elicited. For example, another program in our sample uses a scoring methodology based on weighting scoring of 5 criteria: documented environmental benefit, meeting needs, coverage and replicability, leadership and innovation, and education and outreach. Out of a total of 100 possible points, applicants can earn up to 30 points in the documented environmental benefit category, but only 15 points in the leadership and innovation category. This scoring structure signals to the applicant that being able to show evidence of the environmental benefit of the project is twice as important as being able to demonstrate the leadership and innovation aspects of the project. Finally, some award programs that we looked at use different recognition levels, such as platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. This was done to incentivize applicants to pursue continuous improvement year over year. In one program using this approach, each recognition level is correlated to the scoring criteria requirements. This approach is similar to something like LEED certification, where there is a minimum level of performance for each recognition level. However, unlike LEED, each recognition level provides benefits that provide increasing degrees of public recognition of the applicant's achievements. These benefits range from the applicant being listed as an award winner on the recognition program's website to a news release and other marketing opportunities. The review process and how it is communicated within the application can not only make it easier for applicants to understand the criteria, but lend credibility, legitimacy, and prestige to the awards themselves. Applications should be reviewed by people with sufficient knowledge and experience, as well as an objective viewpoint. This might mean members of the awarding organization's board of directors or staff. It might also mean subject matter experts from local businesses, government agencies, universities, former winners, or community representatives. How applications are reviewed is just as important as who the reviewers are. The process itself should, at a minimum, be based on a scoring system and evaluation rubric and should be clearly communicated during the application period. Both the applicants and the reviewers should have access to specific details about the scoring methodology. This could include definitions of each scoring criterion, guidelines for how points are awarded for each criterion, and the distribution of scoring across all criteria. In some cases, this is straightforward. Points can be awarded based on quantitative elements, such as percentage change or the number of program requirements met. In other cases, defining criteria requires more effort. For example, if a program scoring criterion is replicability, what does that look like and how do we know if it's occurred? How do we know if it has been effective? What characteristics would earn a project 10 points versus 20 points? Because many elements of the evaluation process require interpretation and independent judgment, the greater the clarity provided in the application materials, the better. Other strategies can also be useful. For example, at least one organization in our benchmarking sample uses a staff member and a specific facilitation method known as ORID to guide the review team through the evaluation and selection process. In this case, the ORID framework has 4 stages: objective, reflective, interpretive, and decisional. Sustainability itself is a broad and all-encompassing concept. This makes the use of comprehensive application instructions as well as clearly defined criteria and scoring essential. Equally important is how that information is communicated and how it's made available to applicants and reviewers. In addition to explicitly defining and describing award criteria and scoring, successful application formats also include things like best practices. What strategies are peer programs using and what best practices might be adopted? A straightforward reporting structure. How clear and easy is it for applicants to provide the information requested? This can be accomplished through a variety of means, ranging from informational videos to providing application instructions, guidelines, and evaluation criteria with the application itself. Tools to help applicants understand and calculate metrics are also useful. Some applicant organizations may be unfamiliar with environmental impact metrics. In addition to guiding applicants and making participation more accessible, providing tracking tools can also improve the consistency and accuracy of information submitted. Based on what we learned during our benchmarking activities, P2I made a number of revisions to the content in Section 2 of the Roundtable's recognition application. The goal of these changes was to provide a clear pathway for collecting project-based metrics while ensuring that applicants would experience minimal difficulty in providing the needed information. The first change we made was to the project categories themselves, which were revised to align with the sustainability triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. The triple bottom line is a business framework that focuses not just on profit growth, but on a business's impact to its stakeholders and the environment. We did this to call attention to the interdependent nature of sustainability from a business perspective and to align with the Roundtable's mission to foster collaboration that enables its members' businesses to build and act on sustainability goals, maintain profitability, and promote healthy communities. Because each aspect of the triple bottom line is interdependent with the other two, choosing 3 separate award categories allows applicants to focus on one particular aspect that might best display their project while still addressing social, environmental, and economic factors. Next, we recommended that projects be required to have been completed within the past year. Using an annual reporting cycle aligns with the EPA's reporting requirements, and more recent data is likely more accessible by applicants. Third, we recommended that the Roundtable's recognition program point distribution be revised to reflect the relative importance of various project criteria. This was based on both best practices and the Roundtable's stated goal of promoting more project-based initiatives. Fourth, the application evaluation criteria were revised to better capture the data needed to meet the Roundtable's EPA reporting requirements and to highlight the positive impact of sustainability efforts on businesses such as competitive advantage and risk reduction. For example, the documented environmental impact category has the highest weighting and heavily emphasizes quantitative metrics required by the EPA. Similarly, the cost and economic benefits category has the second highest weighting because it emphasizes quantifiable value adds stemming from sustainable efforts. Finally, P2I recommended that the Roundtable's recognition application include a listing of key pollution metrics of interest to the EPA, such as hazardous waste, air emissions, and cost, as well as metrics commonly used in sustainability reporting, such as electricity consumption and waste to landfill data. P2I also recommended 4 overall changes to the structure of Section 2 of the Roundtable's recognition program application. First, this section now includes specific requirements, guidelines, evaluation criteria, and questions rather than a general essay-style prompt. More specifically, and as noted, Section 2 has been aligned with the triple bottom line approach to sustainability and related metrics. The people bottom line should assess things like community impact, employee engagement, and sustainability leadership. The planet bottom line should assess impact to the environment in terms of natural resource consumption, pollution, waste, and greenhouse gas emissions. Finally, the profit bottom line should assess short and long-term financial and economic impacts, including cost savings, efficiency, and capital improvements. The revised Section 2 also provides suggested project metrics for each element of the triple bottom line. Some examples include, for people, number of employee volunteer hours, charitable giving to the surrounding community, employee transit options such as EV charging stations, bike lockers, and showering facilities. Planet metrics include waste to landfill measured in tons per year, greenhouse gas emissions per year, also measured in tons per year, electricity consumed, renewable energy consumed, and cost of managing metrics. Profit metrics include immediate operating cost reductions, capital investments made possible through cost savings from the project, operating margin, as well as tax incentives and subsidies. The second structural change to Section 2 of the Roundtable's original recognition program application concerns metrics. Whereas Section 2 of the original application requested all information in one section and did not require quantitative metrics, P2I recommended splitting Section 2 into two parts, one for narrative information about the project and one for metrics quantifying the project's outcomes. Doing so is meant to stress the importance of quantitative data and metrics, as well as capture outcomes while providing a space for applicants to provide context to their project. P2I also recommended that the Roundtable's recognition application include a listing of key pollution metrics of interest to the EPA, as well as metrics commonly used in sustainability reporting such as electricity consumption and waste to landfill data. To clarify and standardize how these metrics are to be reported, P2I created two templates that are now integrated into the application. One template, which is shown here, captures waste and pollution reduction metrics. The other template, which is similarly formatted, captures energy and raw material consumption. Both templates also require cost data. The last two structural changes recommended for Section 2 of the Roundtable's Recognition Program application relate to replicability and transparency. Replicability refers to how well or how easily an applicant's project could be deployed by another business or community, or even at another location of the same business or community. It's an indicator of whether or not a particular project could be leveraged by others in order to expand its positive impact beyond the applicant. We've chosen to call attention to this aspect of the revised Section 2 because replicability aligns with the Roundtable's focus on community development, and it reflects best practices observed in other award programs. For the final structural change, transparency, P2I recommended that a question be added at the end of each category in Section 2 of the application. In other words, people, planet, and profit. This question should ask the applicant to describe the methods or tools used to quantify the environmental benefit being reported. In addition to signaling to the applicant that transparency is important, asking for information about how reported data was generated encourages the submission of information that will help reviewers assess the stated impact of any given metric. Our benchmarking efforts revealed a number of areas where recommendations could be made to Section 2 of the Western New York Sustainable Business Roundtable's recognition application. These changes retain the original goals and focus of the program. They also reflect best practices and lessons learned from the benchmark programs. The goal of the revisions was to provide the Roundtable with an application better suited to collecting metrics and outcomes of project-based initiatives being pursued by their members over a one-year time frame. Thank you for your time and attention. We hope you enjoyed this presentation.